welcome back to our exclusive Sky News Words Matter More segment with the broadcaster and wordsmith, of course, Kel Richards. Well, let's get into the words tonight. We've got some good phrases here. One from Louise from Hodgson Vale in Victoria. She wants to know where the term carry on like a pork chop. Now, my parents used to love this one. My mum still says sometimes I carry on like a pork chop. Where does it come from, Kel?
It's a really interesting one. Carry on like a pork chop is an abbreviation of a longer expression. The original expression, which appears to go back to around the 1920s, was carry on like a pork chop in Jerusalem on a Saturday. So what it was doing was multiplying things. Obviously, pork is not kosher, so it's disallowed food in Jewish diets. Secondly, Jerusalem is the holy city for Jews. Thirdly, Saturday is the holy day of the week for the Sabbath for Jewish people. So it was, one over the top thing after another after another. So if someone goes over the top again and again, they are carrying on like a pork chop.
Rightio. There's another one. Monique from Central Tablelands wants to know about the word asphalt. Now, I've just said it the way she said not to say it. She said people can't read, there's no H in it, so it's not asphalt. It should be asphalt. She's probably right, and I'm wrong.
No. I'm on your side. Louise, I'm sorry about that. I do apologise, Louise. I went to the Oxford, which I take as the final authority. The Oxford English Dictionary lists no fewer than 9 different pronunciations for this word. That means it's not settled. Some of the pronunciations start off with ash, some with ass, and the second syllable is pronounced in a range of different ways. Now, with a lot of words, the community gets a settled pronunciation, so that's how it is. In this case, there is no settled pronunciation. That means we can't be critical of anyone who pronounces it differently from ourselves. So, Louise, you'll just have to calm down and accept other people say it different ways. And we can go on saying it the way we've been saying it. But because there's no settled pronunciation, I'm not prepared to bang the gavel and make a ruling on this one. 9 different pronunciations. Say it how you like.
I think this is one where I will listen to Louise. I will say asphalt in the future. It's one of those ones, as a kid, you learnt via your ear before you even went to school and learned how to spell it. So I think I've picked that one up from home. Carol from Forest Glen in New South Wales, she wants to know, why do we say sausages are bangers, as in bangers and mash? Where does the bangers come from?
From the First World War, from the soldiers in the trenches. During the First World War, shortage of meat, a lack of good filling for the sausages, so that they were filled with all kinds of things, including cereal and water and stuff like that, put in hot frying pans by the soldiers in the trenches in the First World War. They quite often exploded. Now, these were people with guns going off around them, so if the sausage exploded, it banged, so it was a banger. So that's where it comes from.
That's a good one. Here's a word that I have been known to say, even on air, I have to admit. Carol says, why is bloody a swear word, and where did it come from?
It comes from the 17th century, from the younger sons of the nobility. They were known as bloods because they had blue blood. They had aristocratic blood, so they were known as bloods. And they were notoriously badly behaved. The elder son was going to inherit the lands and the title and everything. Younger sons didn't have much to do. So in the London of that period, they tended to play up. And there was an expression which became very common, as drunk as a blood, which is a bit like a more familiar expression as drunk as a lord. It was that kind of idea, as drunk as a blood. That got turned around to become bloody drunk. And once bloody had been turned into an adjective, it then just applied to anything as an adjective. Except in Australia, where we did something really clever with the word bloody as an adjective. We integrated it into the middle of words. There's a wonderful poem by John O'Grady, who wrote They're a Weird Mob, called The Integrated Adjective, which starts off, I was down at Tumba bloody rumba shooting kanga bloody roos. And only Australians do that.
That is so true. That is so true. This is the beautiful old Australian prose that sort of slips away bit by bit unless we put it back in the curriculum, or we sit around a fire, turn off the TV and read from some poetry books, which we don't do often enough. Hey, last one, going into the budget cycle, all this talk about windfall profits and budget numbers, etc., windfall to the budget this and everything else. Where does windfall come from?
Well, they use it, and we use it, to mean a sudden surprising acquisition. It turns up in English in the 1400s, so a long time ago, and it started off as a literal expression, meaning anything that was blown off a tree in a windstorm was a windfall, and it could be anything. Then, about 100 years later, it started to be used as a metaphor, so that it was a surprising acquisition. And what brought that about, as far as I can tell from my research, is that blown off trees from time to time was fruit. And the passerby who picked up that had acquired a free harvest, and that was his windfall, a sudden, unexpected acquisition.
There you go. Brilliant as always, Kel Richards. Have a great week. See you next Wednesday. And we'll have a really good topical word connected to the voice when we talk next week. Thanks for your time.
Talk to you then.